Good afternoon, Bloomington. It is Friday at 3 p.m. You're listening to WIUX LP Bloomington, and this is Growing Pains, the show where we do a lot of cool things, including interviewing local artists. Today, I'm joined in the studio for my first show back, hello everyone, with the very talented Copeland James. Copeland, say hello.
Hello, hi, I'm Copeland James.
Hi, Copeland. It's so good to have you on.
It's great to be here.
I am excited to talk to you. This is our first time meeting, but I have been streaming Small Talk for months at this point now. So I'm so excited. We're here today to do a listen through of your debut album. But yeah, can you just tell us a little bit about yourself, who you are, and we'll start listening to some songs.
Yeah, for sure. I'm born and raised from Bloomington. I usually say I'm a folk pop artist, but genres are always a little fuzzy to me. This is an album that was in the works for like 5 years. I started planning this way back in high school, and now I'm 23, so very exciting for it to come to life. It's a lot about communication and bad communication, the things that we want to say and how they end up coming out differently.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I think we should just take a dive right into the first track, just so the people can get a sense of what you sound like. But I do have to ask, I mean, how does it feel having this album be born into the world and out for this long? Is it a relief?
It is definitely a relief, yeah. And the last year or so before it was released, my music focus was more on polishing this album and getting it out into the world as opposed to trying to create new things. So it's been also really exciting and also a little scary to have this like wide open canvas to start working on something new.
Oh, exciting. Okay, we could talk about what's to come
sure.
Later on. That's exciting.
Yeah.
We will kick it off with the first track on this album, Darling, We've Got Time. I feel like this is a really good intro track. Like, it just makes sense. It kind of puts you into the worlds that you're creating. Anything to say about the song before we listen to it?
This song was written, this is the first song I ever wrote on, not ever wrote, but the first song on the album that I wrote.
Okay.
This was written when I was about 17, and my friends and I started getting our driver's licenses and being able to explore town without adults around. And so it's a song about being in places that I'd already been lots of time, but it feeling like a new experience because it was this new stage of life and with friends that I loved so much.
Amazing. Oh, I can't wait to listen to it. Everyone, this is Darling, We've Got Time. Copeland James. Enjoy.
Never really took the time to look at. Let's find the locks to all our keys, make and solve makeshift mysteries, see all the same things in a new light. We've got wide open eyes and hearts to fill, and darling, we've got time to kill. Join me seeking simple let's get lost, going somewhere familiar. Take all the most
All right, that was Darling, We've Got Time, Copeland James. I think I said to you, it was interesting that this was the first song you wrote for the album and the first that appears on the album's track list. Was that an intentional thing?
It wasn't in my mind when I wrote the song. When I wrote the song, I had no concept of the album yet, but I think it works out nicely as an intro, especially because I had written a very, very basic instrumental for it, just chords, so I could let like the drums and guitar do really what they wanted, and that ended up being like more high energy sounding than most of the tracks, so it worked out.
Yeah. I'm curious to know, because you have had, I just did a little stalking of your Instagram before, as is customary, but you've been actively promoting, showcasing your music from a music page since 2018, right? But I'm sure you had years of musical experience before that page came to light. What is your musical background? Like, when did you really start getting into music?
Well, I first started writing songs when I was like 11. Now, I'm not saying they were good when I was 11, but I've been writing songs for a really long time. I actually had a sort of secret, actual first debut album in like 2016, but it's not good. Don't go looking for it.
You heard them. Don't go.
But I've had a long time to polish stuff, and then I was a flute major, so I've got like a whole separate music background that's classical music. Yeah, really helped make connections with the audio engineering majors who helped record it.
Of course, yes. Do you feel like I don't know if I heard any. Was there flute on this album?
No, there wasn't. There were plans to have flute, and then it was expensive studio time, so we didn't end up adding it. But future music, probably.
Okay, yeah, obviously you got your degree. And
I gotta put that to use.
Do you ever feel, I think it's interesting, I've had a lot of like audio engineers and people who study music on here, and it's interesting to see how the music that they make for fun contrasts with the music that they, study. Did you feel any, I don't know, tension in that? Have you ever like kind of grappled with both sides of your musical self?
Yeah. Well, classical music and the flute always felt more rigid and stressful, and songwriting felt more like an expression of myself and more like fun hobby. And now I'm turning it more into a serious thing. But classical training definitely has influenced songwriting. In the third track on the album, Restless in Rome, which we'll hear in a minute, the piano part is like the same, I don't know how to say it, like piano pattern as a Bach song that I was learning for a piano class. I didn't realize that till after I wrote it. I'm like ripping Bach off.
Yeah. That's funny.
Yeah.
I would have never have guessed that Bach was creeping its way into that one, but that's cool. Yeah, the influences you notice and also the ones that you don't. Where you're like, oh, this definitely came from classical, but I had no idea it did. Yeah. Cool to hear. I didn't know you had the classical background. Yeah. Awesome. Well, I can't wait to hear Restless in Rome, so we're going to move ahead in our listening to the second song to get closer to it. This song is Best Friend. I love this one. I think your vocal performance on this one is incredible. Thank you. Yeah. Any thoughts about this one before we jump into it?
This song, when I was writing it, I had like so many different life events going on that applied to different lyrics. There wasn't like a cohesive storyline for it for me. And then in the time since I've written it, I keep having situations in my life where I'm like, yes, this retroactively feels like it applies to that song. So that's a fun thing about it. Yeah.
That's cool, having that universality of a song where you don't have to associate it with just one thing. But cool. Well, we can all experience that for ourselves. Everyone, this is Best Friend, Copeland James. Enjoy.
Do you wanna be my best wanna write a story? Do you wanna be a mirror? Do you wanna show me who I am? Do you wanna share your secrets? Do you wanna find out all you can? Do you wanna show me what you've been hiding away? I won't think any less. Underneath your skin, we've been trying to level with the loneliness. Let me in. Do you wanna be my guidance? Do you wanna let me be yours too? Keep me company at 3:30. Getting tired, but we're making do. Do you wanna show me what you've been hiding away? I won't think any less. Underneath your skin, we've been trying to level with the loneliness. Let me in. I've been feeling like a younger me, like a flashback to naivety, like I'm slipping on my self-control. Embrace the chaos like it's made for me. People come and people go, and so I've been trying to let them go, instead of clinging by the skin of my teeth. Do you know you mean the world to me? Do you wanna show me what you've been hiding away? I won't think any less. Underneath your skin, we've been trying to level with the loneliness. Let me in. It's never a good time to say it. It's never a good time. It's never a good time to say it. It's never a good. Do you wanna show me what you've been hiding away? Think any less. Underneath your skin, we've been trying to level with the loneliness. Do you wanna see what I have been hiding away? Will you think any less? Underneath my skin, we've been trying to level with the loneliness. Do you want me, want me, want me to let you in?
All right, that was Best Friend, Copeland James. You mentioned just with some of the production help you had on the song. I'm curious to hear a little bit more about the people who were involved
Absolutely.
in the making of this project.
Okay, so there were so many different people who helped me with this project, especially because since I was getting help from audio engineering majors and they kept graduating, so I did separate parts of the album with different people. So the instrumental was recorded in the summer of 2021. Joey Miller recorded the instrumental there.
Joey Miller,
And then
former president of WIUX.
yeah. Then he moved to California. And then I did the vocals. Vocals were recorded by Ben Wessenberg, who was also involved with WIUX.
He was.
Wow. yeah. All in the fam. And then he moved to Chicago. And then I recorded strings with Luca Chazal was the engineer there.
Oh my God.
And then Kelly McGrew was another IU audio student, and she played bass on it. So the people who played in the instrumental, Kelly McGrew, I'm just going to name so many names right now.
Drop them, shout them out.
Yeah. Kelly McGrew on bass, and Max DeBella on drums, and Jimmy Diskin on guitar. And then Kelly in addition to playing bass, mixed it. And Kelly has like so much patience for all the notes that I sent about the various different songs. The mixing process took a long time because I was being real nitpicky. But I was just telling Natalie that like Kelly really made this song shine. Did a really great job with the mixing. It sounds so different, the first unmixed track versus final.
Yeah, that's super cool. And that's a lot of familiar names, a lot of WIUX people too, which I think I knew, but hearing you list them all out, it's fun. But, I mean, did it ever make you, I don't know if nervous is the right word, but having it be segmented and working with different people on different sections of the project, did you ever feel like, oh my gosh, it's going to be hard to communicate my vision because it's just segmented like this?
Well, kind of. Mostly it just took so long.
Yeah.
I wasn't that worried about eventually getting to the vision, but it just took such a long time. I mean, the recording process started in 2021. The last song I wrote in 2020. So it took like 3 years from the last song being written to releasing it.
Yeah.
And then it was also a little difficult coordinating with Kelly because I was in Bloomington. Kelly was in LA, so it was all like Zoom or text or email.
Yeah.
So that was a lot of texts and emails and a lot of time, but ended up in a good place. And I think that working with so many different people actually made it better. Like the original form of the project, if it hadn't taken so long, oh my God, there are more names that I forgot to mention. Like another IU composition major, Daniel Nieberg, composed string parts for a few of the songs.
Okay.
And if it hadn't taken so long to do the whole process, if there hadn't been waiting periods, I probably wouldn't have been able to commission Daniel to write these string parts. And then amazing string players, Maeve Whelan, Yoav, and Ethan Clay, Yoav and Maeve Whelan on the strings. And that probably never would have been added if it had been all done like quick in 2021 like it was originally planned.
Yeah, beauty in the space between things.
Yes. Oh, I love that.
Thank you. No, I think I definitely understand being like, oh my gosh, this is taking forever. But it's cool to see what emerges out of all that time. So exciting. Okay, moving on to the third song off of this album, Restless in Rome. This was the first single you dropped off of the project. Can I ask why this one?
This one, it has those strings that Daniel Nieberg wrote, and it just swells into the biggest performance of any of them. I think it's quite fully orchestrated. I love the strings in this one. And this has also just always been my go-to if someone says, like, play one song to give me a sense of your music, I'd play this one, so it felt natural for it to be the first release.
All right, cool. Well, everyone, hope you're enjoying the album so far. We're going to hit our third song, Restless in Rome. Copeland James, enjoy.
I wanna build Rome in a day. Routine is boring, throw it away. Gather the newness, be bolder, be clueless, heart on display. I wanna go out on the town, be afraid and alive. I cannot be held down. I wanna make mistakes, gas only, no brakes. Try not to drown. Restless stories beg to be written. We're smitten by what we don't know. Seeking glory.
All right. Restless in Rome. I think I love the lyrics of this one. I feel like it would be like in Pride and Prejudice or something.
Ooh, a lot of people have said for this song specifically that it would be a good film track song, and I'm like, yes, please. Someone put this in your movie.
If any of you all out there do licensing, Copeland has a great song. No, I also have that same thought. It feels like a very visual song. I am curious at what point, so you started writing these songs in high school, some of them, up until 2020. Yeah. At what point were you like, okay, these songs are an album, these 8 are an album?
Well, I'd actually decided I wanted an album called Small Talk way before I had the actual 8 songs that ended up on it.
Interesting.
Darling, We've Got Time and Sinkrony are the only 2 I'd written before I decided I wanted an album called Small Talk. I actually decided that before I wrote the single Small Talk.
Uh-huh.
There was one lyric of Small Talk that I had written before I wrote the single. This is a whole spiel we're going to go on real
I'm
quick.
excited. Let's dive.
So it's good that Small Talk is the next song.
Isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so this is like maybe a TMI tale, but
go ahead.
Okay. There's a lyric from Small Talk that has nothing to do with the actual overall story of it, but I was at like a doctor's appointment for like a exam thing where I had to have one of those little paper gown things.
Those are the worst.
Yeah, I know, right? And the doctor was like talking to me about the weather, and I was like, this is so weird to be sitting here in this like very exposed state, and the doctor's just like casually talking about the weather.
Mm-hmm.
And that dissonance, like immediately after the appointment, I wrote the lyric, ask me about the weather while I'm parting with my dress.
Oh, I was curious about that.
Yeah. Which sounds like a hookup lyric.
Mm-hmm.
And I went, I bet I'll have an experience that lyric applies to later. And I just put it in my notes app, and I recorded the little melody, and I was like, when I have an experience that this fits in better, I will write a full song, and it will be called Small Talk.
Uh-huh.
And then I thought, that's a good album title.
Yeah.
And so at the time, I'd had a completely different track list for it. There are songs that I can't believe I ever even considered including on this album in 2018. Mm-hmm. And then I wrote the song Small Talk a few months later when I did, in fact, have an experience that felt like that lyric fit.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a song about casual dating / terrible communication.
Okay.
Yeah.
I love this is another song you have a music video for.
Yes.
And it's beautiful. I would love to talk about the production of that more because it seemed pretty big
it was
scale.
Really fun.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay, exciting. Well, we shall get into Small Talk, the title track.
All right.
Enjoy.
The weather while I'm parting with my dress. Honey, this is just for fun. This is just for fun. Shallow and easy does it. Don't fall off the tightrope. Keep the conversation flowing, going nowhere real slow. I don't hardly know you. You sure don't know me. It's just small talk. Mysteries in our heads, leaving it all unsaid. But it's bad luck. We should leave this death bed, but we'll keep going instead. Ask me about the weather while I fight to keep my walls from crumbling. This is just for fun, this is just for fun. Keep your cards to your chest, don't say what you're thinking. Dance this pretty line with me to keep this ship from sinking. I don't know about you, but I'm afraid of falling in deep. It's just small talk. ask me what I'm thinking. I dare you to ask me what I'm thinking. I dare you to ask me what I'm thinking. I dare you to ask me what I'm thinking. I dare you to ask me what I'm thinking. I dare you to ask me what I'm thinking. Just ask me about the weather. Will I ever call you out? Or has this only just begun? Only just begun. Shallow and easy does. Don't fall off the tightrope. Who are we kidding? Call it small talk. Mysteries in our heads, leaving it all unsaid. But it's bad. We should leave this deathbed. We'll keep going instead. Summertime.
Oh, we just got a little teaser of
Sneak peek.
sneak peek. That was Small Talk. I am curious just hearing how this song came about. It was motivated by the title and also an interaction you had. I mean, what does your songwriting process look like? Is it pretty uniform, or what sparks you?
It looks a little different every time. Usually it either starts with one lyric or it starts with a piano part. Now I play piano less. I'm playing like a guitar. So it's less like messing around on the piano leading to something. But very frequently I'll have one lyric that I think is a great lyric. I want to make something out of that. And like 75% of lyrics like that go to the lyric graveyard to die. But the remaining 25% will end up in full songs. And Small Talk is an example of one of those where that lyric, it sat waiting in my notes app for months before I finally actually used it.
Yeah. Cool. I mentioned before, but the music video for Small Talk, which if you're listening, you should, stay tuned into this, but search up the Small Talk video on your laptop or something because it's incredible. There's so much going on. There's like multiple different places that you are and characters, and it's just really cool. So can you talk to me a little bit about the making of that video, where it was born from?
Yeah, I would love to. I had so much fun making that music video. Big shout out to Simone Hill-Bassett, who shot and directed and edited that music video. It was super cool working with her. And then my co-star was Drew DeMora. And Simone and I both worked at the library. And Simone worked in CATS, where they have community access TV. And there are studios in there. And because she worked there, she could get free access to this big video studio and really nice equipment. So that was super handy. So all the different scenes are all in that room. The bedroom scene, we had 2 air mattresses. Okay. And we blew up. One is like main bed, and the other is the headboard, and we just have a blanket draped over it. It's
cool.
And Drew's partner, Persephone, did styling and hair, and then also just helped us set up those sets. So we had a few frantic hours of setting up the props. So on one wall, we had a big cloud lamp thing with some lights that I'd hot glued together the night before. And then we set up that little bed scene and had a camera overhead so you couldn't see the rest of the mess of the studio. And then in the back there was a green screen. So Simone added some cool scenes with that. And then the main props there was a cardboard cloud head and a cloud sun. So I was talking earlier about how the idea for the Small Talk album came to be in 2018 before I'd even written the song Small Talk. I have a diary entry from like January or February 2018, which is before I'd even written Small Talk, where I'm saying, I've decided I'm going to have an album called Small Talk, and here's an idea for an album cover. Did not use the album cover, but it's a little sketch of 2 people standing next to one another, and they have like a cloud and a sun for a head. I have pictures of this on my Instagram.
Yes, I think I've seen.
Yeah. And so looking back on that and finding that little entry was the inspiration for making those cardboard heads.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's, crazy that this thing from years ago came to be years later.
Know. It was very exciting.
That's very cool.
Mm-hmm.
How important are visuals and stuff like that to you?
I love to get the visuals looking just right. Yeah, I don't have a lot.
No, I asked that in part because I feel like you do a great job of marketing yourself.
Thank you. Oh, I try so hard.
Okay, well, it's a tough thing to do as one person, but I'm just struck by your social media presence. You play a lot of shows around town. You have music videos and support. You have merch. Everything is just very visually pleasing, and I feel like you've got your brand out there.
Thank you. Yeah, well, I had so long to think about the visuals for it. There are a lot of the visuals that developed over time. Like I have a rotary phone that's in all of the photos.
Yeah.
And it's in the music video as well.
Mm-hmm.
And in 2021, I had done a little photo shoot with a friend just to have an artist photo for a gig. And I dug up that old phone that had been a family member got it at a vintage place or something when I was 5, and I went, that's cool looking, I should add it in the photo shoot. And then I thought over time, that's a great metaphor for the themes of this album of communication and failed communication, because it's a tool of communication, but it doesn't even work. It has to be plugged into a wall, and I'm carrying it around. It's not plugged into anything. So I thought more and more about how that was a good metaphor for the album, and then it became this really integral visual.
That's super cool. And I think I think the lesson I'm getting out of this interview is that it's good to take your time, because cool things can emerge. So
true. It felt so stressful at some of the times in the process, how long it was taking, but I'm so glad in retrospect. And the song Restless in Rome, we're jumping back a little bit. I wrote that about wanting everything to happen right away. I wrote that early in college, and I'm in the same town as I was in for high school, and things felt simultaneously very new and also not new enough. And I just wanted everything to happen all at once. Had the first lyric, I want to build Rome in a day. So it's a little ironic to me now that I wrote this song about wanting everything to happen immediately, and then that song took years to produce, and it ended up so much cooler than it would have been if I'd recorded it all right when I wrote it.
Yeah. That's
interesting.
I like the irony there.
Yeah.
That's fun.
It's 18-year-old me is shaking their fist.
And there's the closing song's about irony too. So it all comes back around. Cool. Well, I want to make sure we get through all of the songs. So we're gonna move on to Overboard. This is a cool progression, I think, through maybe a relationship, potentially. Anything about this song?
This song was written about a friendship. There are some songs on this album that sound like songs about friendship that are actually a little romantic, and a lot of ones that sound romantic and they're about friends.
Okay.
And then my friend Ellie Cashin recorded the background vocals. I think they're so beautiful. So big shout out to Ellie.
Shout out Ellie.
Shout out Ellie.
Okay, this is Overboard, Copeland James. Enjoy.
Summertime, take me back. Putting flowers in your hair, I'm in love with you. You don't have to say you care, I know you do. We could walk around this block 20 times and we'd never get bored. Not a thought on our minds of what we're moving towards. Now the summer's on the fringes, and we've gone overboard. Holiday, hold me back. I've been fighting through the blue, still in love with you. I don't have to say I care, you know used to crave the pillow talk. I wanted to pick every mind and see what I'd find inside. But I'm getting tired and I'm getting scared that I might find something there that I can't hide from. What if I only have so much left to give, when there's so damn much life left to live? What if it's finite and I'm all tapped out? Someone tell me what I used to be so excited about. What if I was a book you could skim and clock out before I really let you in? 'Cause I don't want to waste anyone's time, yours or mine. I'll be fine. What if I only have so much left to give, when there's so damn much life left to live? What if it's finite and I'm all tapped out? Someone tell me what I used to be. What if I only have so much left to give, when there's so much life to live? What if it's finite and I'm all tapped out? Someone tell me what I used to be so excited about.
Okay, well, we started with Overboard and seamlessly transitioned into Pillow Talk. Yeah, I love the little guitar solo at the end.
I do too. That's Jimmy Diskin. I think it was improv.
Oh, Jimmy Diskin, good job. Yes, sorry about the word removals. That was my own doing, not Copeland's. What is this song about, though? It feels like feeling burnout and like you have nothing to give. What was kind of your...
Yeah, okay, song lore.
Song lore.
This song was written after I had a breakup on March 13th, 2020, if that date rings a bell. So that's first day of quarantine.
Oh my goodness.
And I was sick. I got sick like right after that. So I'd gone home to parents' house was supposed to be like a couple days of spring break. Then was sick before you could test, so I had to like completely isolate just in my bedroom.
Yeah.
And so I had just had this major breakup and was totally alone for a few weeks. And that's the situation when this song was written. So it was a time where I felt like really hopeless and like I couldn't picture a future, both in like romance and just the world was really weird.
It was bleak.
Yeah, real bleak. So this is a bleak song.
Wow, that's crazy context.
Crazy.
Truly, I'm curious, like, because these songs come from so many different times in your life. Like, how do you feel listening to them now as you were putting the album together? Did you feel differently about them? But how has your perspective on them changed?
Yeah. Some of the oldest songs on the album, I don't not relate to, but it almost feels like someone else wrote it at this point. With some of the songs, like the story, like that's the most recent song. I really remember the story behind that. It was pretty significant. Some of the songs, I think I kind of vaguely remember the story behind this, but I feel like I'm not even qualified to describe that like 18, 17-year-old version of myself.
Yeah.
view the world. And like when people ask me who my influences are for my music, I know who my influences are now, but for these songs, like a lot of those artists I had never even heard of when I wrote these songs. And I have to think, like, if you want an artist that actually is similar to these songs I'm releasing, like, who was I listening to in 2018? That's kind of the weirdest part of it.
Yeah, right. That's interesting. You're like kind of disconnected from your
Yeah.
past self. But do you feel like I don't know, new life, or have they taken on I mean, you've said they've taken on new meanings, you've had experiences that have lined up with stuff that you've written about.
Yeah.
Is that ever weird? Do you find new things in each of the songs you write?
Yeah, and then I'll also have new experiences that so mirror past experiences, and then I listen to my own songs and I go, darn it, I've done it again. Like the next song, Chit-Chat, there's a lyric, I have to think for a second about what my own lyric is out of context. Oh my God, I'm forgetting my own lyric. But it's a lyric about like, we'll look back on how young and dumb we were, as if we won't find somebody else and do it all over. That's the lyric.
Yes.
And I keep finding myself relating to that lyric again. Like I go, oh, look at me. I found somebody new and I did it all over.
I think that's the interesting thing about relationships sometimes is you're like, it can feel like the first time, but you're like, I have been here before.
Yep.
And who knows where I'll be if I'll be in this position again. But interesting. This might, not to editorialize, but this might be my favorite song off of the album. We'll just get into it then.
Yeah.
This is second to last song, Chit-Chat, Copeland James. Enjoy.
Say we're over it, count up the days since we moved on. Keep tabs, catching up a bit, chit-chat over coffee once in a while. They're all moving on trajectories that I will never try to understand. I guess that's the grand design. But what's so great about the distance? Keep it cool, casual and self-defense. Why am I so proud of forgetting how it felt? It's not sad, it's just an emptiness lingering. We bring up our old jokes, it doesn't mean anything. We brag, tell our friends about it, how we should dodge a bullet, it never could have worked. Red flags that we should have seen, forget what could have been, we're better off for sure. Think they believe it, you're all moving on trajectories that I will never try to understand. I guess that's the grand design. But what's so great about the distance? Keep it cool, casual and self-defense. Why am I so proud of forgetting how it felt? Ooh, it's not sad, it's just an emptiness lingering. We bring up our old jokes, it doesn't mean anything. Remember when we type a text and let it sit, wait a while before sending it anyway? Do you remember being foolish? Hey, it's funny now, looking back on how young and dumb we were, as if we won't find somebody else and do it all over. We brag, say we're over it, and we're not even lying anymore. Play tag, try to catch each other, chit-chat when we feel like it's doesn't mean anything. Why do we forget the things that we don't want to? Why do we remember the things we wanted to toss out the door? The mind's a funny creature, but I can't complain. What would I do that for? Why do we want to fall asleep in someone's arms, but sleep so poorly when we do? It's okay. I like being almost in sync with you. Why do we pretend like we don't care about the things that keep us lying up at night? It's not fair to anyone, but we'll do it anyway. So well, we could be better, but we're alright. Why do we want the things that fall just out of our reach? Is it human nature, or are we just being stupid and young, looking for love in all the wrong places and faces, half-hearted embraces, probably both. Ooh, probably both. Ooh, why do we subconsciously seek out the things that we said we wanted to be tossing out? Ooh.
Okay, we started with Chit-Chat, ended with the album closer, Sinkrony. This is back on the topic of irony. We are, I've just realized, pretty much out of time.
Okay,
So if there's
yeah.
anything you want to say about the song, go ahead. Or anything that you wish to say about the album that you haven't yet, please do.
I think we've covered a lot of it.
Good.
Yeah, it's the first and last songs are the oldest songs on the album. Both were from 2017. So it's just like a weird little arc.
Yeah,
traveling back.
I love the cyclical nature of
Yeah.
music. But yeah, I am so glad that you could join me and that we got to chat. This has been a lot of fun. Listeners, I hope you enjoyed listening to Copeland's music. If you did, you can follow them at Copeland James Music on Instagram, and you're on all streaming platforms.
I am.
Okay.
Small Talk by Copeland James.
Small Talk by Copeland James. That was the thing today. I hope everyone tuning in enjoyed the show. Thank you all. I am so excited to be back. Growing Pains Season 4 is in full swing. I will see you all next Friday at 3 p.m. Teaser with the band Too Many Cooks. We'll be doing a sneak preview of their new EP. So thank you all for listening. I hope you enjoy the rest of your Friday. Next up is Happy Hour, hosted by Trent Schneider, my dear friend. So stick around for some good music. Enjoy your Friday, and I will see you next week.